Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Tonight's film is copyrighted 1979, was released on VHS in approximately 1985. It is Three-Way Weekend. Three-Way Weekend. What you are looking at here, folks, is the rare this film has only been released on VHS. So what you're looking at here is a copy of the film put on DVD-R by the company VHSPS.com. They are a company that takes films that are grossly out of print, have never been released on DVD, and what they'll do is they have a large VHS collection and they will take their VHSs and put them on DVD with their cover art from the VHS tape. So this is an extremely rare movie on VHS. And you can see this is the actual VHS cover art here on burned onto a DVD-R. And you can see the back, there's a lot of writing on there. This was, the VHS was put out by Academy Home Entertainment in 1985. To say that this movie is rare is an understatement. The tagline on the front is, "Out of school, out in the woods, out of sight." Three-Way Weekend, directed by Emmett Alston. This, and you can see Academy Home Entertainment on the original VHS. And once again, this VHSPS is a company that puts these out and kind of secures and tries to get out these unknown films to everybody as I drop it. Okay, folks, let's talk about Three-Way Weekend. This is a incredibly bizarre, unique, and sexual, weird, out of control, wacky, what the hell am I watching movie. I guess you could put this in the 70s, 80s sex comedy genre, but you really can't, because this is in its own world in many, many respects. Essentially, what we have in this film, we have two girls that are backpacking in the forests of California, and they are getting away from their boyfriends. One's a stripper, and one is a girl who gives sexual massages, and they want to get away and have sex with each other. And in the woods, it is a perverted part of the woods where a man in an ape mask is out watching them and wanting to mount them and have sex with them. And there is also a forest ranger who is very political and holds a whip. There's also a pig farmer with a gun and a military man with his new Asian wife who was a hooker. Now, folks, this is an unknown film, Three-Way Weekend is. We got to get into this. Wow. This is a true diamond in the rough if you like underground sexploitation, teen sex comedy types of vibes. Now, there's no teens in this film. The two lead girls are, probably in their mid to later 20s. So let's get into this film. Let's start off with the music. This is a film that has all, original music just done for the film. You have a lot of these sexploitation films which do things like that, where the title of the movie will have its own song, like that movie Screwball Hotel that I did on this YouTube page. And no exception, Three-Way Weekend has its own title song in the credits, in the opening of the film. But it also has songs being played per scene, and if you listen to the lyrics, those lyrics apply to what is happening in that particular scene. And I would say that listen very closely to the lyrics of all of the songs in this film, because they're as shocking as the dialogue is in this film. Essentially, we have music that sounds kind of late 70s, early 80s rock and roll, and we also have a lot of acoustic picking throughout the film that almost sounds a bit like woodsy or southern woodsy, and it's kind of pretty. It's kind of soothing at times. That picking, noodling on the acoustic guitar. Now, folks, when we get into, we got to talk about the dialogue of this film. The dialogue of this film is the most sexually explicit dialogue that I've ever heard in a non-porno film before, and I kid you not. Now, I'm gonna really take you for a ride here when I tell you this. I didn't mean a ride, a double entendre, but it fits perfectly with this film. Look at what this film is rated. Can you see that? It's rated PG. This film is rated PG. Now, there was no PG-13 back then, but there is an incredible amount of topless nudity in this film, an incredible amount of sexually explicit implied situations. There's no bottom nudity in this film, but the situations, the sexual situations in this film are very explicitly implied, if you catch my drift. And we have extremely sexually explicit dialogue involving words like cock. Now, this is a PG film right here, folks. The dialogue goes beyond double entendres. This dialogue is just totally sexual porno, just the whole time. I mean, references to, 69ing, oral sex, orgies. We even have a pretty wild late 70s, early 80s striptease that's pretty charged. There are lots of references to boners and penises and vaginas and folks, it is to masturbation. I mean, this is a wild, weird world of a film. Essentially, you are in the woods with these two girls, and you are in this world with the two girls and the man with the ape mask in the perverted woods, and this bizarre political park ranger who is against communism and Chinese people, and it has a wacky feel to it at times, but then it doesn't play that wacky also at the same time. Like, you could almost at times maybe feel like it could be a Troma film, but it's not at all. It's actually played quite seriously sexual in many regards, like almost a porno would be, from the late 70s or the early 80s. And it exists in its own world, and we even have a subplot of kidnapping and rape, and then we have the character with the ape mask gets uncovered, and another subplot kind of forms there. But essentially here, folks, we have a story of sexual dialogue to sexual dialogue to sexual dialogue, and a cabin in the woods with the number 69, and very weird sexual shenanigans happening. A newlywed couple where the husband pays his wife for their married sex because she was a hooker. And let's just say there is a situation involving a penis being stuck or permanently lodged in a woman's vagina, and ice cubes up a man's rear end to try to unlodge his penis from her vagina. Folks, this is a wild sexploitation, sex romp, sex comedy type of vibe going on here, with a lot of very bizarre political themes with Nixon and conservatives and Republicans, and there's like a lot of political themes here. I mean, against conservatism and things like that, which is something that you'll find as a trope in a lot of like sex comedies or things like that, because obviously this is a genre of film that conservatives might not really like. But in this particular film, there's a lot of very kind of bizarre political themes running through the film as well, which was interesting, and a lot of masks. There are a lot of there's I don't know, not a lot, but there's mask wearing in this film, which is very bizarre. And one of the characters in this film has writing on their shirts, and the writing will change from scene to scene at times, and then kind of remain stagnant for the remainder of the film. Now, this is a film that's 78 minutes long, and it, I mean, it's just a very, there's a lot of dialogue that, I mean, there's a lot of dialogue in this film, and I got to tell you, I had to pause the film a few times because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The dialogue is so over the top. It's so over the top, pornographic or sexual. You just won't believe it. Now, you're not going to hear the word fuck in this movie because it's PG. This movie's PG? What? It is the most explicit PG rated film I've ever seen. Now, of course, we have PG rated films that had some nudity in them, like the 70s Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I mean, there was some nudity in there, some full frontal, but wasn't prolonged and it wasn't sexual. I mean, this film, holy crap. Now, the acting in the film, I mean, essentially, we have some very bizarre, wacky, what some people would call bad acting, which I think just fits absolutely awesomely in this film. And the two lead girls, um, they have their own form of sexual attraction about them, and there is a American girl playing an Asian girl that also has kind of a sexual aura about her as well. It's the kind of film where you might not find somebody attractive, but because of the sexual energy of the film, there is something there. And there is a lot of sexual energy in this film, and chaos, and romp, if you catch my drift. I really can't compare this sex comedy or sexploitation film with any other sex comedy that I've ever seen before. So, folks, if you can find a rare VHS copy of this film on Amazon or eBay, good luck to you. I believe you'll be paying a little bit of money. Last time I checked, there was one looked like for about in the $20 range, which doesn't seem that bad at all. But if you'd like to definitely make sure you get a copy, you can go on to VHSPS.com, and they will have three-way weekend for you. This is what the copy looks like, and they will sell this for $10. And they have tons of other movies that are lost and forgotten on VHS that have never been converted to have never been released officially on DVD or any other format. And these movies cannot be lost. And this is what this YouTube page is all about. Three-Way Weekend, released in 1985. Copyright on the movie of 1979. Folks, holy crap. Look at this. Look at these girls. This is something pretty wild. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, and this was one of them. Please check out all my other reviews, and please check out my own personal films that I make at youtube.com/poopydiarrhea. You might find my own personal films, 190 plus in 10 years, quite bizarre themselves. Yeah. Thank you, folks. Thank you for watching. Tons more reviews on this page. Check them all out. Good night.